flowers. They're blooming all over the place. Tulips are my favorite. Roses are lovely. Lilies are beautiful. I don't remember what these are called, but they're pretty too. Isn't that gorgeous? But this is how I can put the camera, so this is where it's going to be. So I pulled a card for the day. Oh, we got Page of Pentacles, Page of Coins. There you go. You can look at it. It's a Page of Pentacles. So, oh, wrong book. It's this one. Hi. Oh my God. Okay. Page of Coins. Skill development. Manifestation. Ambition. Solid beginnings. And setting goals. The Page of Coins is generally a good omen in a reading, bringing news in terms of earthly and material matters. You are beginning to build solid foundations beneath your feet, which aid you in your future success. You are planning out your long-term goals, and this card signifies your ambition to jump in and go for everything you want. By making the right decisions and steps, success will be certain. Sorry guys, I'm going to do that a lot. Keep your heart and eyes on your goals and don't stop manifesting. The Page of Coins indicates the natural energy and interest in learning about the world around you. Curiosity, right? You have everything you need to develop your skills, use your enthusiasm and ambition to set out to achieve. The world is in your hands as long as you stay focused and grounded. Determination and hard work are required to stick with the tasks, no matter how mundane they feel. Now I'm going to read the reversal. I'll read it in a minute. We're not there yet. So that's the Page of Pentacles, right? Now the cool thing is I pulled a card out of a different deck. I have a chaotic mess of cards. They're all mixed together. And I'm going to read out of this one. Tatan the Sylph. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Probably not. Acute intellect, quickness, mental synthesis, discernment. Tatan glitters and glimmers bright. She scatters a special fairy dust that energizes the mind. However, energy is not everything. And the fairy dust that actually makes minds brighter as well as more energized is more rare. And she distributes it much less often. She is full of curiosity and wants to go everywhere, see everything, and have every question answered. Like the 2-year-old asking why? She wants to know all. Even the things that, by their very nature, cannot be known to the conscious mind. Tatan reminds us that ideas cannot be confined. This is where I'm getting, okay? Ideas cannot be confined. They are wild and free. They move fast. Some ideas are more contagious than the flu, and they move quickly from head to head, sometimes illuminating and sometimes burning out with a flicker and a flash and a faint whiff of ash. Now, when I was reading that, I was kind of like smiling to myself because you've got people always trying to find that one thing that will gain them notoriety, that they can ride the wave of making money, getting attention, getting clicks, getting likes, getting approvals, right? And you get maybe a little bit of that attention, and you're expecting it to be this long, slow extension of success. Oh, well, then I'll just build upon it. I'll just build upon that one thing, right? And then when it burns out quite quickly, so they get a dump of attention and a dopamine hit from all the likes and the attention and the approval, maybe even a bit of cash in the pocket. And then, yeah, like Smarty Girl said, 15 minutes later, it's gone, right? They keep doing the same thing over and over, expecting for that to maintain. But the wave dies out as quickly as it builds. And sometimes you do something and it lasts for ages, and you see people that are constantly growing and building and getting more and more and more and more, right? Now, eventually everything runs its course, right? Everything has a birth, a life, and a death, even ideas. And when you are creating that authentic energy and you're like, man, this is so cool, and you put it out there, and then other people might think it's cool. So then you keep chasing the dragon, so to speak, because it is kind of like a drug. And you're like, man, if I could just do if I do this again and then I get more, and then I do this again and I get more, but pretty soon the novelty wears off and you're wondering what happened. It's because you turned a spark of authenticity into something that's completely opposite of that, right? But that shouldn't stop you from expressing yourself and putting it out there. But not for the reason that we're speaking about, not for the clicks and the likes and the approvals and the whatever, but because it delights your soul. It excites you. I've noticed that the waves that last the longest, the waves that last the longest for people, the rolling boil of a concept or idea, are things that people are authentically passionate about. It's not just something they're like, oh man, if I do my makeup this way, and then that you get so much attention and you keep doing it over and over again, and pretty soon it starts to dwindle. No, I'm talking about, man, I'm gonna try something new because it delights my soul, and then I'm gonna try something even different because it delights my soul, and it doesn't matter if it gets the same or a different amount of attention. So, for example, when I first started doing my readings, and for ages, it was just a slow build, and then I started getting a lot of traction for a second there, and then it dwindled down like a lot. It hasn't changed the core of who I am and what I'm attempting to do here. The reason that this channel is a rolling boil of water instead of just a quick wave is because I have a mission. that speaks to the authenticity within myself. And whether other people approve of it or not, that's really not my concern, is it? That's theirs. This is not going to be a popular message, but I'm going to keep going. The sylph is a fragment of the earth's soul in fairy form. In the fairy realms, light comes not from above, but from within. Like other fairies, sylphs light up the world around them, energizing who come into contact with them with their quick fairy radiance. We humans also light up the world around us with our auras. It is a pity that so few of us have learned the mental disciplines to be able to perceive that light. However, Tayton is not the one to consult about that. There's a different fairy to try for that. What Tayton bestows is more ephemeral, but nevertheless of value. She is an awakener, one who startles us into seeing the things in new and exciting ways. She loves to sit in on teenage and college-age discussions about the profound questions of life. She is full of bright ideas and willing to discuss them at length. She is not too bothered whether the discussions make much sense or not. Ideas with wings are her joy, and mental stimulation is her game. Tayton has inertialess flight. Like thought, she is not bound by the rules of mass and momentum. Therefore, she can radically change direction without notice, more quickly than a hummingbird. Starter reading. What we see here is mental quickness, adaptability, and enthusiasm. Ideas and opinions abound. A few are brilliant, but others vary from mediocre to downright silly. Be selective. Mental and psychic abilities may be awakening. Independent thinking is in operation. New ideas, new versions of old ideas are creating an exciting, effervescent atmosphere. Avoid excess and extremes. Minds may change often as new ideas and new ways of seeing bubble to the surface. Out of conflict and confusion, resolved by goodwill and clear thinking, a new and better understanding may come. You know, one of the reasons people are so scared to be authentically themselves and are scared to get started and push the idea through to fruition is because they're scared they're going to sound maybe silly or stupid, or people are going to have negative opinions about it or whatever. But thoughts are ever changing, first of all, right? And second of all, that's the whole premise behind scientific studies. Trial and error. When you try something and it doesn't work, you go, okay, and you write it down, and you know you need to make some sort of adjustment. Like my camera seems to be doing right now. You need to make some sort of an adjustment. And that goes with thoughts and ideas too. We can have passionate beliefs about something, and then new information comes in, and that passionate belief structure gets jilted or jarred, transformed, changed, upset. And embracing the idea that, oh, it was right at the moment when I thought it was right, and now it appears that it is wrong because I have new information that shows that, you know, maybe it's a little different than I originally thought. Authenticity is being able to own that process and continue to flow and continue to grow and to continue to push forward. So I'm going to read the reverse of these cards so you can understand the opposing energies. So the reverse of this card, fluttery, fickle, fly by night. Reliable? Ha! You must be joking. Here we are likely to get into arguments merely for the sake of excitement and mental fizz of arguing. Petty quarrels can take place. Mental irritability can be a problem. All of this can be rectified if everyone involved makes a conscious effort to become earthed and calm. So ground yourself. Mental flights of fancy of the hummingbird mind are fun, but until ideas are brought down to earth, they accomplish nothing, right? You can have all these belief structures and ideas and all this, stuff going on, but if you don't act on it, it just stays there or it flitters out and dies anyway. Or, it goes where it gets the attention. If you're not going to go with an idea, somebody else will. People forget that we're all energetically connected, not just with, energy itself, but if you look at thought as an energy form, as a form of light, a spark within, you can have conversations with somebody without saying a word. You can be in a space and have your mind just like thinking about something, and other people can pick up on what you're thinking about. Not all the time, because a lot of people are self-absorbed these days, but it's called ESP. You just, it's practically like mind reading nearly. So you try to covet an idea and it still gets out and it leaks into somebody else's consciousness, subconsciousness, and then they take it and put it into consciousness and they act on it as though it was their idea. Well, the idea itself may not truly belong to any one person, place, or thing. So if you're holding on to something and being covetous about it because you're scared, well, someone's probably going to run with it anyway, even if you don't share it. The Page of Coins in reverse is Page of Pentacles in reverse. Procrastination, laziness, lack of commitment, lack of goals, and immaturity. The Page of Coins in reverse represents inaction, frustration, and foolishness. Your immaturity and lack of focus can tip the scales from success to failure. Any of your present challenges are not happening due to outside factors rather than your procrastination, lack of determination, and inactivity. You are the only thing holding yourself back from achieving your goals successfully. Look closer to what prevents you from reaching your full potential. The Page of Coins in reverse indicates that you are spending your energy and enthusiasm in the wrong things, keeping you running in circles away from progress. You are full of potential, but everything you wish for will not just be handed to you. You need to get up on your feet, I think she meant feet here, and start working hard. Now the insight associated with this card is, am I willing to do what it takes to achieve everything I want? What is holding me back from reaching my full potential? And here's another thing. Let's say you put it out there and then your biggest fear is actualized and realized, and people take your idea and they just run with it, and you feel like your idea has been stolen from you. Oh, they're copying me. They're copying me. There's a reason why this particular saying exists. Mimicry is the sincerest form of flattery. When somebody's copying you, they're really diving into what you're doing and what you're saying, how you're being. And instead of throwing a negative block on it, if you embrace those people and you lean into it, not only will your concept get more widespread, right? People have this lack mentality that, if other people are getting views on a topic that you put out, that, you're somehow lacking, but it's different. The idea is what is important, first of all, right? The authenticity, the allowing of that authentic energy to get out there is what's most important. But also, when you have people who are early adopters, this is marketing 101. When you have early adopters diving into your idea or your creation or your product or whatever, if you lean into it, you can learn from them. And you can build upon what they show and what they adjust and what they change. Or maybe it gives you a different idea to do something slightly different. So instead of attacking and blocking, if you embrace and lean in, you can grow in your authenticity instead of get stifled and blocked by your fear and lack mentality. Now, again, I know a lot of people might not like me saying all these things, because our current society is built on lack mentality. That's how a few are able to control the many. But both books are clear. We do it to ourselves. Nobody's doing it to us. I spoke about this yesterday in the live that I did, and we discussed the improvisation practice of yes and. The sky is purple. Yes. And the clouds are made of, what did I say? And the clouds are made of cotton candy, and you just build upon yes anding things instead of, no, that's not right. The sky isn't purple and the clouds aren't made of cotton candy. Instead of turning it into this dense negativity, you open yourself up to creative possibilities. And this expands not only your curiosity, right? But it expands your mind. It expands your abilities. It expands what you're able to produce. If you look at the fashion industry, there's nothing new under the sun, not really. And most day-to-day fashion is basically, there's like a rule where it has to be at least like 40% different or 60% different or something like that from whatever item it is that you probably are just downright copying. My dad used to work for a men's clothing line, and he worked for a few of them. But what they would do is they would buy up like these really fancy brands that are, expensive or whatever. And then their designers would pretty much copy them and make slight adjustments till, it was within acceptable parameters, like fashion industry is like constantly like copying and pasting and just adjusting a color here or there. And, when you view us humans for what we are, which is social creatures, and you want to say, well, this is my idea, nobody else can use it, well, then that idea gets stagnated. It becomes stagnant. It gets stuck. And you have these companies that have monopolies over products and concepts and all sorts of things. And it just becomes dull, and half the time the quality, nearly 100% of the time, the quality even goes down, the cost goes up. It just takes all the joie de vivre out of it, the joy of living. It just sucks the life out of whatever it was that was created. So, and then you may look at that and go, yeah, but they got all the money. And it's like, yeah, but we're talking about authenticity here. We're talking about being authentic. This goes the same with, individual people. Maybe you got a sister or a brother or a best friend that, you find out every time you do something new, they're copying you. And you're like, motherfucker, you keep copying me. It's because they're able to appreciate what you're able to create. They wouldn't have been able to do that on their own. They're learning how to be authentic by copying you, which sounds counterintuitive, but it's the same thing with anything else. You learn by copying others. This is how we are born. We learn how to communicate and eat our food and make cool faces and laugh and cry. We copy our parents and our siblings and our relatives and people that we, that watch us, and our schoolmates and our teachers. We're copycatters. That's the nature of the human condition. That's how we build upon one another. That's why we are social creatures, which is probably why they're trying to desocialize us, stunt our creative growth, build this untrusting and lack mentality within us, isolate us, put us in a position where, everyone's out to get my ideas and, steal from me and this and that. And it's like, yeah, but you're fighting nature. Elijah and I went out for a walk the other day. Yesterday, literally. Rainbow Diamond, Elijah and I went for a walk in nature. And he kept saying, like, we were talking about how the rocks had formed and, the mountains and the mudslides and all this stuff. And he goes, well, it's just nature. It's just nature. It's just nature. And some of the most profound bits of information come out of the mouth of babes, they come out of the mouth of children. But he's right, it's just nature. You want to stop the sun from shining? You want to stop the food from growing so that you can control and profit off of what everybody is consuming? You want to own all the houses so that you can control how all the buildings look? It's like there's a sickness woven in throughout society, humanity, worldwide right now. And it goes against our very nature. We are social sharing creatures. And basically you'd be fighting your nature. I know Diamond's waking up Elijah right now. Oh, Muffin. I have her blocked so she can't, go running around, but puppy training. Let's see, that's this one. We got 2 here. Oh, 3. What's going on? 6 of Swords, 5 of Pentacles, and the Chariot. Moving away from this lack mentality gets you back on track. It's the lack mentality that's got you stuck. And moving away from that will get you back on track and get you moving in the right direction. Now, I'm not saying not to patent your ideas, and I'm not saying not to get your stuff copywritten and do all that. Yeah, do those things because you want to make sure, if those are your ideas, you want to make sure that you have access to them. And if you don't protect your stuff legally speaking, then somebody else might, and then they might prevent you from doing the very thing that you're the one who manifested it in the first place. That's happened before. You know, you got big corporations that'll literally go into these, they have their little weasels in the patent department, and they'll block certain patents from going through, and then they'll go ahead and file their own of the same fucking thing. They go to the patents office to steal shit. It's nuts. And then you've got corporate espionage and all the rest of it because of lack mentality. And we got 4 of Wands here and 2 of Pentacles, and they're facing opposite directions. You've got God who supports the universe, God the Savior. Rectification helps one live in peace with everyone. Fortune and fame fulfills any request. They're 2 sides of the same coin. That's how they came out. They're both facing upwards. They just were facing opposite direction. They're 2 sides of the same coin. Don't limit yourself. You don't have to screw over other people to have fortune and fame. It's not a prerequisite. That's just what we're being poisoned with. That's the idea that we're being poisoned with. That is not our true nature. That is not humanity. That is not progressive. That's why in the States we put it into law way back in the day. Monopolies are illegal. And yet we somehow find these fucking weasels going in and basically destroying the law so that they can be greedy little shits with lack mentality seeping into everybody else. I have to steal and take from everyone else. More. I need to control it. I need to control the quality. I need to control the price. I'm lazy. I don't want to compete. I don't want to have to play fair. I don't want to. Lazy. That's Page of Pentacles in reverse. Our nations worldwide are being run by Page of Pentacles people in reverse. Lazy motherfuckers. If they spent half of the effort that they use to screw over others, if they put half of that energy just building themselves instead, holy moly, we'd be a lot further along than we are. So, don't be scared to be yourself. Yeah, there's a lot of things out there that can try to stop you and try to screw you over and steal from you and all the rest of it. But don't let that stop you. Don't allow the devil energy of fear to seep into your soul and contaminate you with lack mentality, with greed, with these manipulative tactics. What's this one? Like I said, the decks are all jumbly. Trickster, creative chaos, wild gifts, breaking habits and patterns. This is the trickster who exists in every world. He comes to us wearing our own faces to fool us into thinking that his ideas are our own. He brings creative chaos into our lives. He helps us break down old habits by showing us how silly they are. He encourages us to fall on our faces so that we get a different point of view. Looking up past our mud-smeared noses, he helps us get ourselves into situations in which we discover gifts we never knew we had. Often because there is no other way out of the mess we got ourselves into. That gnome is unreliable and sometimes encourages drunkenness. This is true. He certainly doesn't always do as we expect. But our expectations are our problem, not his, he says. As for drunkenness, in vino veritas, in wine there's truth. When we let down our mental sensors and filters, we sometimes come up with discoveries about who we really are and what we really want that we hadn't let ourselves know. When he appears, it is breakthrough time, and all too often the first steps in breakthrough feels just like breakdown. There are better ways of doing this than getting drunk or going through a psychotic break, but the better ways take skill, and he has to work with what he has, us, just as we are. The gnome tells wild and wonderful long-winded stories, complete with demonstrations of the action and much arm waving. An online group member says, he adds, that gnome is full of knowledge, but the trick is sorting out the truth from the fiction. It takes a lot of good sense to be able to listen to him. He isn't known for his patience. If that gnome breaks a vase, the pieces will fall into patterns of great significance and meaning. This is what I said when we were talking earlier. I said you got to try and you might fail, but then you learn and you change and you grow, right? That's what this is. The gnome breaks the vase. The pieces fall into patterns of great significance and meaning, but it is up to us to read and understand it. He is the potentially constructive force of chaos. The gnome is also the keeper of our wild talents, the ones we may not even know we have. When he appears, it is often to call our attention to our own latent gifts. Sometimes in your most chaotic or depressing or ridiculous times of life, you do find gifts that you never knew you had. You find resilience, you find power within, you find your authenticity. You know? In a nutshell, which is where he claims to belong, his job is to help us get lost from our comfortable ruts so that we will explore wonderful, exciting, and strange new paths. He is a good friend of Raven, the philosopher trickster, and Coyote is one of his many disguises. He's so smart that he sometimes outsmarts himself. Can you laugh at yourself sometimes and let the laughter carry you into new insights and new ways of being? Then that gnome within you is waving his fairy wand gleefully. You gotta be willing to just get up and try. Sometimes you just need a little chaos to find your order, to find your gifts. Don't be scared. I remember a long time ago, way back in the day, when, people did not put different colored nail polish on different fingers. It was not, I was made fun of for putting different colors on my fingers. Like I would just do my pointer finger one color and all the rest would be a different color. Or I'd do funky, weird color patterns on my fingers. And kids would make fun of me in school. I was in elementary school and they make fun of me. And now it's common practice and it's an art form. Was it my calling? Right? It wasn't my calling. I'm not doing nails for a living. Like that's not my calling. But because of my willingness to be authentic and dive into the deep end and look like a weirdo or whatever, I was able to inspire others onto their paths. And that is actually where I found my gift, which is why I do this channel. I help heal healers. I set the example for example setters. I want to be copied. But I want you to copy me in your own way, right? I mean, if you're just taking my videos and copying and pasting them and pretending to be me, that's fucking weird shit. But if you're learning something in a video, you're learning something from a live or a post that I do, and you go, man, I want to expand on that idea. Fuck yeah, man, do it. Expand on that idea. Maybe that idea is your calling. I am here to facilitate the callings of those around me and those around you, because you're going to influence other people. I used to get really uptight and upset because people copy my shit. I remember in college, my favorite pair of jeans were falling apart, and I kept sewing them together with like this French, this yarn, this very like fancy French yarn I got, not like yarn ball. It was like the really nice stuff. I don't know what it's called. I can't remember, but they have all these beautiful colors. And I used to use like a half circle sewing piece, and I would mix media with my clothing, and I would put different colored fabrics and different colored things. I started altering recycled fur coats because I felt like those animals, their hides were being disrespected by just being thrown away. And I was doing all this like funky stuff in college in San Diego, and people would stare at me, and some people would laugh at me, and some people would use it as a way to make fun of me or start a conversation or whatever. And, years later, it became this huge thing. Like my particular type of style, I would call it Frankensteining, because I would do these really chunky sewing lines, and I do all this funky stuff. And I started seeing it, and my dad pointed it out to me, goes, Ashley, he started laughing, goes, I remember when you were doing that, and nobody else was doing it, and they were all like making fun of you, and now everyone's doing it, right? I mean, at first I was a little butthurt about it, because I was like, man, I wish I would have gotten the credit and people would have bought my own shit instead of just copying me, and I could actually have some money. But at the same time, that wasn't my calling. But through the chaos of losing the control over my authentic ideas, breaking the proverbial vase, it fell into a pattern of great significance and meaning for myself, which lands me into my purpose, which gives me my mission statement. Don't be worried about what other people are thinking. If it excites you, try it out. If people make fun of you, 9 times out of 10, it's their own insecurities, because they're too scared to do it. And if other people copy you, pull them into the fold. Hey, I notice you're doing what I do. Hey, come hang out with me. Let's sew together. Let's learn from each other. Let's create a club. Instead of allowing the lack mentality of the 1% to keep us isolated, we need to go back to, it's just nature. It's just human nature. It's just Mother Nature. It's just the nature of things. We're social creatures. We build on each other. We build with each other. Don't be scared to lose an idea or two, because it's the process of creating these ideas where you finally eventually come to what your true calling is. And if you're so focused about this one thing, you lose sight of the greater mission for yourself. And it could be getting taken from you because that's not your path. Maybe your path builds upon that thing, but it's not that thing. Maybe other people need to take that idea and fall on their face with it so that you can learn from their mistakes and you don't have to waste your time. And then you learn from that and you build upon it, and you find yourself going with the idea from a different angle. And then you can be profitable and successful and get your attention and your accolades and all the rest from that. So many times I've looked back and gone, oh, thank God that didn't work out. You have to be willing to release and relinquish control and flow in an authentic state of self. And that's the message for today, my little friends. The last message I've only got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 live chat messages that I can see. So if you guys have been talking, I don't see it. I see Smarty Girl. She's made 4 messages. And then somebody else did a bunch of emoji, weird, funky symbols, which are cool. I like it. So, I don't see what you guys are saying. And then also my live views people get ripped from my lives. Like, it's ridiculous. So please don't be offended if I don't respond. Okay, you're here. So I see that message. So that's good. But just so you guys know, I get blocked a lot. It's kind of the nature of this channel. If I'm not getting blocked, then I must be doing something wrong, because usually when I'm doing something right, I get blocked like a motherfucker. You can always tell which messages are the most important by how little views they have, because those are the ones that are getting blocked like crazy. Because those in lack mentality, that like to be in control and manipulate outcomes, they do not like this kind of information getting out there. You see? So start your day or end your day or whatever you're doing with a little meditation for yourself on what makes you authentically you. And what kind of steps can you take to really express yourself in such a manner? What can you do to kind of, like the other day, I'll give you another idea that's probably going to get taken from me, and I'm cool with that, right? The last week, actually, I've been doing this. I have lavender petals that I got in France like maybe a year or 2 ago when I went to visit Layla. And I've been putting a little bit in my coffee press. So I put my coffee, a little bit of lavender. Sometimes I put a little cinnamon in there too. And then I pour the hot water over it, let it seep. And I'm telling you, I love the flavor. You got a lot of people who got those Keurig coffee pod, a Nespresso coffee pod, this and that, and they take away your creative control. I like my coffee press. I can be creative with my coffee. Sometimes I put clove powder in there. But the lavender petals, I was surprised about, and I like it. The lavender in the coffee, it kind of offsets the jitters of the caffeine. And it adds a really cool kind of a flavor. But, you might see lavender coffee starting to pop up, you might see like boutique places, and little, what are those, mobile coffee docks, and they might do special lavender coffees or whatever. But, I just pulled it out of the drawer the other day, like a week ago, and I was like, I'm going to do this. Now, does that mean that nobody's ever done that before? No. It doesn't. But if it takes off because of me speaking publicly and loudly on a public YouTube platform, and someone takes that idea and runs with it, well, I'm proud of you for taking the initiative and making it go right. Good for you. I lead leaders. I heal healers. That's my purpose. That's my mission. I got a billion ideas. And I'm happy if you guys take every single one of them. If it ends up expanding outward toward the greater collective of society and changes the mentality from lack mentality to abundance mentality, because that's where we belong. We all belong in abundance mentality. There is plenty for everyone to go around. Don't limit yourself. Don't limit yourself with fear. I gotta go. Chaos is ensuing. I'll do a live tomorrow or something. Okay. Let's look at the flowers again. Look how beautiful. Aww. Happy, happy, joy, joy. Do you guys remember Ren and Stimpy? Anyway, I mean, look at that crazy ass cartoon. I mean, and think about Walt Disney. He showed everybody a bunch of cartoons and everyone said, don't do the mouse. Don't do the mouse. The mouse is stupid. Don't do the mouse. And they all picked all these other different characters. And guess what he chose? He chose the mouse that everyone despised. And it became the most well-recognized figure in the world. A fucking cartoon mouse, man. Right? Like Mickey Mouse. Yeah, shucks. I can't even do the voice. I'm not. Anyway, you know, get out there, be authentic, take a chance, be wild, be wildly yourself. You know, get that shirt that you're not sure of the people, that shirt that you have in the closet that you love and you're scared people might judge you for. Go out and wear it. Even if it's just for an hour, put it on and go to the coffee shop. Now, obviously, if it shows your, you know, nether regions or your nipply bits, maybe, you know, put something underneath. But you know what I mean? Just try something out that takes you out of your comfort zone, right? And gets you to be a little bit more, try the authenticity in just small doses and acclimate yourself to it. Oh no, I really gotta go. Okay, talk to you guys soon. Bye. What are you